Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Madeline and this is Made with Books, and today I'm doing the reading retrospective tag. This tag was created at the end of last year by Pauline from Dancing Lawn, who also tagged me, and I missed it at the end of the year, so I'm doing it now, a little late, but I still think it's going to be a nice way of looking back at 2019, seeing as I didn't do any final end of the year wrap-up videos, so this is a nice solution for that. Yeah, so let's get into it. So question number one is, which book you read this year, being 2019, would you recommend to anyone and why? And the one that I came up with is a play, and that is A Woman of No Importance by Oscar Wilde. If you have read anything by Oscar Wilde, then you know that he is extremely witty and clever in his writing, and A Woman of No Importance is no exception to that. What did surprise me a little bit, although I probably shouldn't have, is how feminist and forward-thinking this play is. And the premise is basically you have a set of characters. The four most important ones I would say would be Gerald, his mother Mrs. Arbuthnot, Lord Illingworth, and Hester. And Gerald and Hester are a young, I guess, couple. They're in love, and Gerald started working for Lord Illingworth, and his mother doesn't want him to. And Lord Illingworth intends to take Gerald with him for work. And we don't know who Gerald's father is, and this is sort of the outline of the play, and you might have an idea of where this is going, so I'm not going to say more, but I think that this is a play that anybody can enjoy and get something out of, so this is probably one that I would recommend to anyone and everyone. Question number two is, which book you read I'm just going to say last year now, which book you read last year has taught you something new? And for me that would probably be Human Acts by Han Kang. I buddy read this with Marian Ryan, who I forgot to mention in one of my last videos where I talked about the buddy reads I did last year. I'm sorry, Marianne. We buddy read this at the end of 2019, and I really enjoyed this book. I think it's better than The Vegetarian, at least I liked it a lot better. Not that I didn't like The Vegetarian, but I thought this one was really good. This is a very hard-hitting book and has some very horrific stuff in it, so be aware of that if you're going into it. And it talks about a student uprising that happened in Gwangju, South Korea in 1980, and then also the repercussions of that throughout the next years and decades. And that was a part of history that I knew literally nothing about before going into this book. So in that sense, this book has definitely taught me something new. But as I said, this deals with torture and violence, and it's very hard-hitting, but extremely well written at the same time. So I would highly recommend it, but just be aware if you're going into this one. Question number three is, which book you read last year came just at the right time when you needed it? And for me that would probably be two books, and that would be The Warden by Anthony Trollope and Agnes by Anne Brontë. Both of these I read for Victober last year, and October was for me a very stressful month at work because it was a Frankfurt Book Fair, and we have a big booth at the Frankfurt Book Fair for which I am responsible, and these books were sort of these quiet. If I say uneventful, it sounds boring, but they're not boring, but they're not like action-packed or anything like that. Just these quiet narratives, which were just what I needed at the time. And so I know these are not necessarily considered the best of the works by these authors, but for me they came at the right time and they were very enjoyable and gave me some much needed calm in the stress that was the month of October last year. Question number four is, which book you read this year will stay with you for a long time? And one that probably will stay with me for a long time, that I read for the first time in 2019, is a poetry collection which I don't have with me because I lent it out to a friend, called Du bist nicht allein, You Are Not Alone, by Arif Hamza. And These poems deal with Hamza's experiences during the war in Syria, so some very hard-hitting stuff, not easy reads either, I would say, but very worth your time if you do read German or if you do read Arabic, because they have been published in a dual language edition. I think those poems will stick with me and I will go back to them and reread them. They're very accessible at the same time, so those will stick with me. If I would have to give an English title, it would be one that was a reread and that obviously has already stuck with me for a long time, and that is Still Alice by Lisa Genova, which deals with dementia. I have done an entire video on this book, which I will link down below, so I'm not gonna get into it anymore here. Question number 5, or prompt number 5, is which book you read last year expanded your reading horizons? So that can mean a new genre, author, theme, style, format, whatever. And for that I chose, again, 2 books and you'll see how they go together: The Iliad and The Odyssey, both by Homer. I buddy read those with Mark from Wordsworth Everywhere and was incredibly thankful to have him as a buddy reader with me for these books, especially with the Iliad. I also learned how important it is to pick up a good translation. This is a German translation that is very old, and you can just tell by reading it. This was a struggle much more than the Odyssey because of the translation, not because of the material itself. And I think they expanded my reading horizon in the way that they just, you know, are so relevant for lots of other stories, for retellings, and they are, I guess, part of the basis that is European literature, some of the oldest works that we have that survived. So I would choose those for that. Question number 6 is, which bookish things did you particularly enjoy doing, purchasing, using last year? And some things that I really enjoyed were moderating readings for work. I've done this a lot because of the line of work I do, and at the job that I had prior to the one that I'm holding now, I've done this relatively often because it was just part of my job. And at the Frankfurt Book Fair we had at our booth roughly around 40 readings. Now obviously I didn't moderate all of those, that would be impossible, but I did do a few, and I very much enjoyed that. I felt like this year, or last year I should say, I was much more relaxed when it came to the moderations, and it was a lot easier to just, you know, have a back and forth with the authors, and that was a lot of fun. I had another event for work that I moderated in November, and that was a lot of fun as well. I was a bit nervous about that one, and it turned out really well, so I was very happy with that. Also, I attended a reading with Daniel, where he was reading from his novel that he's working on and another text that he's written, and it was a lot of fun seeing him on stage and answering questions, so that was a good time. And then I had some author events that were probably other author events that were highlights. Margarete Stokowski, who is a German feminist journalist and author, and she was in Gießen, which is the town I live close by to, and she's very funny and intelligent, so that was a really good event. I got to see Siri Hustvedt in Frankfurt, which was great. I really like her books, and I also got to see in Frankfurt Madeleine Tien, whom I haven't read anything by yet, and her husband, who's also an author, Ravi Harsh. And I was so impressed with Madeleine Tien's intelligence and the thoughtfulness in which she answered questions that were put to her. So I was very impressed with that. I also went to an event that was a kickoff for a German literary prize called Literaturpreis, which I will link information on down below, which is a literary prize that is awarded to authors from Latin America, Africa and Asia. And that was really good fun because it was the judges of the prize panel presenting all the different titles and fighting for their titles, and then afterwards it was a public voting that started that evening and then went online, so that was good fun. a book we picked up that Daniel and I enjoyed together because I read it out loud to him, where we laughed a lot, was Weird Things Customers Say in Bookshops by Jen Campbell, who I don't think I have to say anything about. And then at the end of the year, I received a belated birthday present from my best friend in England, and that includes books, and I'm gonna show it to you, and I'm hoping the glare on it won't be too bad, but that was definitely my favorite bookish thing of last year. So she had an artist, if you can see it, she had an artist draw a superhero version of me, which is hilarious, and it has a lot of books on it. So that was definitely my favorite thing that was bookish that I got last year. Question number 7 is, who are some of the booktubers, subscribers or other bookish friends that you got to know better last year? Through, you know, watching the videos, commenting, through personal contact, online or in real life. And the person that I got to meet in real life from Booktube was Mark from Words Everywhere. Daniel and I did a trip with 2 friends to Amsterdam, and I got to meet up with Mark there, and it was absolutely lovely and wonderful to meet him in person, and it was lovely getting to know him better throughout the year. And some other people that I loved getting to know better are, of course, Pauline, who created this tag from Dancing Lawn. We did a buddy read of Stay With Me by Ayobami Adebayo, and that was good fun. The first buddy read I did last year was with Kelly from Books I'm Not Reading, and she was very patient with me, and that was really nice. I mentioned Marianne, who I buddy read Human Acts with. I also got to know one of the commenters underneath my videos, Time and Chance better. We've been interacting via Goodreads messages as well as the comment section on my videos. So those are just to name a few that I got to know better. So that was really good fun, and I'm looking forward to getting to know a lot of you better throughout the year. And in real life as well, a friend of mine started this thing. She's also calling it a cozy reading night, but reading in the sense of reading to each other. So I only got to join once last year. She did it twice last year, and Daniel and I joined for the second time. It was really good fun. We were just reading texts that we had enjoyed to each other, and it was just cozy. It was really nice. So that was good fun as well. Question number 8 is, what Booktube videos did you particularly enjoy in 2019? And there are lots, and I can't think of all of them, but I tried to come up with some of them. Rosmika from Rosmika Likes Books did a lot of poetry videos, and I really enjoyed listening to her read her own poetry, so I thought that was fantastic. Lukash from Totally Pretentious also did poetry readings, not of his own poetry, but of other authors, and he interspersed them with music, which also I mentioned. Alan from Alan Morton did that as well with Robert Williams' service poems. But Alan Morton has another video that I really enjoyed the most, I think, probably of the videos that I watched by him, was his take on the Booktube at the Gym tag, which is hilarious. I will link all these videos and things that I mentioned down below, by the way. But Brian, who created the Booktube at the Gym tag from Bookish, he also did a hilarious version, so I will link that down below as well. I really enjoyed the Booktube Top 10s tag that Jason from All Blues Chapter and Verse created, because it was just very interesting to see how people talked about their favorite books. So that was great. Summer Dawn did a hilarious version of the Reader Problems tag, where she interacts with herself and her more glamorous self. Read with Cindy, who I think is a very well-known channel, did Booktube in a Nutshell, which was hilarious. Claudia from Spinster's Library, she did a lot of very unique videos, but 2 that I really enjoyed were, one was really funny, was From Chonk to Strong, which was with including one of her cats, and sort of this fitness exercise regime for a cat to go, you know, from a chonk to a strong, which you could argue is fat shaming a cat, which really isn't okay, but it was still very hilarious. She also did a video about why she made the decision to monetize her videos and what that means for her. She talked about this very openly and frankly, which I very much appreciated. And Tilly from Tilly's Shelf did the Highbury Reading Project TBR in reference to Jane Austen July, impersonating Emma from the novel by Jane Austen, and that is hilarious to watch as well. These are just a few that come to mind. There's lots more obviously, and I'm sorry if I didn't mention yours, but yeah, those are some of the videos that I enjoyed last year. Question number 9 is, did you discover a new all-time favorite book? And I'm not sure I did. I had quite a few books that I really loved. I probably have to wait a longer time to see if any of those turn into long-time favorites. Maybe the poetry collection that I mentioned, You Are Not Alone, Du bist nicht allein by Harif Hamza, but I wouldn't say that I definitively would put one of them into my favorite books of all time category yet. Final question is to tag people. Now, since it's already the end of January, actually as I'm filming this, it's the beginning of February, so I'm already very late with this tag, so I'm not going to tag anybody. However, if you still feel like reflecting on 2019, I can highly recommend this tag. Thank you again, Pauline, for tagging me and for creating this tag. It was really good fun. And I will see you soon in another video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Bye!